Alright everyone, I wanted to do a follow-up video on the Ford Escape transfer case removal and evaluation. This is the old transfer case from my car that was making terrible noises. Now, I don't know if you can hear it or not. Before we lift it up, we'll turn the output shaft. This is the output shaft here. Tear it apart and, oh, there we go. Now you can hear it. Listen. Hear all that noise and rattling around inside? Very grindy and noisy. We're going to take it apart and show you what's inside and what goes wrong with these. And all we need to take it apart is a 10mm socket. Here we use our electric impact gun. And there's, I don't know, let's see, we'll start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12. Alright, and now we're going to take a hammer or a tool and we're lightly going to tap these tabs here, and that'll pop it right off for you. So you can, going to lift the cover off. We've tapped it up sufficiently. We're going to lift the cover off, and the front gear is going to go with it. Oh, this is something to see here. This is something to see here. Let's get in close so you can see what we're looking at. Look at that. You see that? That's all shredded metal in there. Everywhere you look, there's shredded metal. I don't think you can see that real well, can you? But hang on. Better? Oh yeah, that's better. Look at that. That's supposed to be grease in here, and it's actually all the shredded metal is just all cooked in there. That's amazing. You can see here's this turning. The bearing's totally shot and gone on this intermediate shaft. This is your pinion shaft here. It goes around like this. See that? That's your pinion shaft. This is your intermediate shaft here. This is an idler shaft, and this is your main drive shaft out of the transmission and into the other front axle. So the transmission input is on this side of it right here, actually is where the transmission input is, and it spins this like so. The bearings on this intermediate shaft here have totally failed, as well as the bearings on the main transfer shaft for the pinion. So everything here has failed except for the main rotator there. You see what happens is there's just a tiny little bit of grease that's in here, liquid greasy. I think they recommend an 85-95 gear oil for this, and it only holds 10 to 12 ounces. Another thing is the exhaust pipe. The actual manifold exhaust pipe runs right next to this right here. There's a heat shield that goes over it, but the general consensus is that the heat shield doesn't do much good, and that this whole thing here cooks the grease. It gets so hot, the grease, a little bit of grease inside, overheats and gels up and gets gooey, causing it to lose its lubricating capacity after time. And even though Ford says this is a non-serviceable part, that you really don't need to change the fluid in this, except maybe I think they say you don't need to change the fluid in it at all. Top mechanics in the field who work on these a lot all recommend changing the fluid on this at least once a year or every 30,000 miles. So, you know, it's money well spent, and it only takes, honestly, it only takes an extra 10 or 15 minutes when you're under the car doing an oil change to go ahead and change the fluid in this transfer case. And hopefully you could avoid the expense and effort of having to take it all apart and replace it like I did. But this shaft right here is actually there you go. It's chewed up. Look at how chewed up that is. That's amazing. There it is for what it is. Here's what you see, what's inside, and the danger of neglecting to change the gear oil in your transfer case. Now that you see how it works and what's inside, I hope you'll say that it's worth the extra effort to go ahead and change the gear lube. If you buy one of these used, I recommend taking it all apart, removing these 12 bolts, inspecting it inside for any debris or buildup, and then cleaning it real good. Clean both sides of this thoroughly as you have it apart, and then coat it with a thin bead of gray RTV sealant, case sealant, and re-torque it back together. That way you'll be sure the one you're putting in is a good one and you're not wasting all that labor. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Hope this doesn't happen to you.